I'd like to welcome everybody to the lovely Cityside Restaurant. I didn't think when I started the project we'd be hosting an event on the balcony of Cityside. I haven't been here, I think, since I was in college, and it hasn't changed. It's still the same. My name is Ted Ty. I'm the managing partner of National Development, and I'd like to welcome everybody here today. We've got a really diverse group of people, from our mayor to a lot of neighborhood folks who have been involved in the project, people who have been involved in the community end, some elected officials. Councilor Siomo was here, and you'll hear from him in a minute. Do we have anybody from the town of Brookline? Okay. Board of Select? Okay. Not a selectman, John, but John's from Brookline. So this was an unusual project in that about 2/3 of the land is in Boston and 1/3 of the land is in Brookline. And the good news for Mayor Walsh is that all of the voters will be in Boston because that building is entirely in Boston. So and seniors vote, as you know. So we wanted to really mark this event tonight before we were ready to open the building, but so many people were really involved in the creation of this project over the years, and we thought it'd be just a great opportunity to mark the return of the sign. And because many of you know, going back to 1940, this site was a theater. It was further redeveloped in the mid-60s into a movie theater and continued to be developed beyond that into a multiplex movie theater, along with an adjacent Howard Johnson's that ultimately became several other things and ended up as an Applebee's. And the site really was pretty dead for about 7 years. The movie theater was vacant, and you know, as we heard loud and clear from folks in the community, there was a great opportunity here to revive something, to create some new energy, and to really provide a signal for what could be in Cleveland Circle. And we've been excited to be a part of it. There are, before I introduce the mayor, there are many people here who are involved, and I will absolutely trip over myself if I try to name all of them. I do want to call out a couple of people. David Zussman, David, raise your hand, is standing over here. David started the development of the project with Boston Development Group and remains a co-development partner of ours on the project. So we thank David for his involvement. Larry Gerber in the back, you can't miss Larry. Larry is our partner on the senior housing component of the project, and he and his firm will be managing Waterstone at the Circle. John Martin from Elkus Manfredi Architects is the lead on the Elkus Manfredi team that has been the design team on the building, so we appreciate that. And Cranshaw Construction, the general contractor for both buildings, here, Bob Lyons and the entire team from Cranshaw. So we really thank everybody for their efforts on the project. What will be here when we open, hopefully, the first building in the beginning of January is Waterstone at the Circle, building right here, 92 units of independent senior housing. Really robust program, and we've been able to meet all of the city's goals related to affordability, and really excited about the opening of Waterstone. And the second building, the one that you see that looks a little less complete, is an AC Hotel by Marriott, and that is Marriott's luxury boutique brand, and there will be 162 rooms, and we're very excited. I know neighbors are very excited. I know Boston College is extremely excited about the hotel. What everybody wants to know from the neighborhood tonight, and I've already had one offer to try to get me drunk and get it out of me, is who will be the retailers. And you know, a really important part of this is revitalizing retail in the Circle area and creating some action and energy along the street front. And We do have 2 restaurants that will be coming in, and I've assured under oath that they will not be fast food restaurants. This is something that will really, I think, elevate the area and provide some nice options for residents, and also help create Cleveland Circle as a little bit of a destination. So we have 1 lease signed, 1 lease about to be signed, and we'll have announcements on those coming in the near future. So that is a summary of what we're up to, and let me turn it over to Mayor Walsh.
Thank you, Ted. And I want to, as I move into the shot for the camera, as I move in here, I want to thank Ted and your team at Natural Development for this development and the investments that you're making here. My first interaction with this project was when I took over the building trades. Came to a meeting. It was a different developer, a different project, a different piece. There was some conversation with Brookline and going back and forth with Brookline about how much can be built in Boston, how much can be built in Brookline. And there was a lot of discussion around reconfiguration of the circle itself and problems. So it's great to be the mayor here for the unveiling of the sign. And also, as a young person, spent a lot of time going to movies there. So it was great. I'm not going to go through what's happening here. You already know. Ted talked to you about it. I do want to give a couple shout-outs. One is to Emily Shea, the elderly commissioner in the city of Boston, because one area that we need to do more on is elderly housing in the city of Boston, and Emily's here today. So Emily, we have 92 units coming here. Some are affordable, which is great for our city. Also Sheila Dillon, chief of housing in the city of Boston. And we're also talking about the importance of creating elderly housing here. Does 2 things. One, it creates housing on campus where there's a building. But 2, many of the people that move into these buildings are seniors that live in houses now in Boston, and they'll be putting their houses on the market to allow families to be able to move into those areas. So they go into a better living situation, living in a building with the services, and then they also turn the unit over in the neighborhoods back to families. So that's the intention of our plan, and that's a perfect idea what's happening here. So thank you to that. And thank you to Sheila and Emily and all the people from the city here. I think the biggest benefit, if you don't use the hotel here, and you don't live in the elderly housing here, and you don't shop in the store here, and you don't park on the site, the biggest benefit is the traffic fix that's going to happen here. I went to school at BC at night. I went for many, many, many years. For many, many, many years I went to school at night. This intersection never worked except when I left class because it was 9 o'clock at night and there was no traffic here. And I think that the improvements that you're going to see here on some of the streetscape and some of the intersections is going to be big for the neighborhood, not just the people passing through the Austin Brighton neighborhood, but actually the Austin Brighton residents who live here, who put up with this for a long time. So again, that's part of the benefit of this project. New streets, new sidewalks, new landscaping, new signage. That's something that's going to be important. Also a $250,000 donation to the restoration of Cassidy Park. I want to thank you for that. Eva's favorite thing. Eva will bring in Hubway bikes here. So you know, I know you're going to be very excited about that. But they will be here for the neighborhood. And again, I just want to end with thanking the community, the Brighton community, and the Brookline community. But I want to thank the Brighton community because in the Austin Brighton, the Brighton community, yeah. You put up with a lot, and there's been a lot of development in the neighborhood over the years. A lot of housing. This neighborhood is an attractive neighborhood that people want to come to. And I think you've taken this situation here, that was in its heyday, a movie theater that wasn't working anymore, along with a restaurant that wasn't working anymore, and really pushed a project, I think, that benefits everybody. To have that connection to seniors, the hotel, and the retail for this neighborhood means an awful lot. So to all the Brighton community and to Ted, thank you for listening to this community because they truly care about the neighborhood, as you know. But it's really, this project is one of those projects that has come together really, really nicely. So thank you. I have the great honor now of introducing with the last speaker before the unveiling, and that is your district city councilor, the chairman of Ways and Means in the City Hall, Mark Sioma.
Thanks, Mayor. Thanks for coming out today for this historic event. Shortly after I got elected in 2008, that cinema closed. That was a cinema that my family went to, my mother went to. I was brought there to see my first movies, and I brought my kids there to see their first movies, Toy Story in particular. and to look and see that we've restored that. I want to thank Susan Bregman, who was one person behind as a driving force, along with many other in the community. The mayor also mentioned these projects don't get as good as they get without the community. And I want to thank the Alston-Brighton community, the Impact Advisory Group in particular, and also the Brookline community. It was working with our neighbors to make sure that this was a great project. And I think the mayor touched on as well, the largest growing demographic now coming into the city of Boston are elderly. And we need to provide more housing. I was proud to stand with the mayor just a couple of weeks ago, breaking ground on 60 units of senior housing on Chestnut Hill Ave for chronic homeless as well as severely disabled. These are good things for our community. And adding the 55 over is just another demographic that is being taken care of. I want to thank you, Ted, your team, David, too. Took a good project, and I think you made it better. Thank you.
Thanks, Mark. So now to the signs. So soon after we got involved with the project, we heard, I think first, from these two crazy ladies, both of whom are here tonight, both named Susan, who told us they had a Facebook group and they really wanted to find a way to save the Cleveland Circle sign. And I happen to be a sign nut myself, and those of you who know our ink block project know that one of the things that we did there was that we rescued the old Boston Herald sign, which is now prominently up on the wall in Whole Foods. In fact, right above the craft beer, so I visit it frequently. So we were a little bit skeptical at first, but we heard a lot from the community about what a nice touch it would be. And we really wanted to make sure it was more than a nice touch. We wanted it to fit with this building, which was very, very different from what was here before. So the original letters, which are about 7 feet tall, 6 letters have been, were rescued from the old building. And I put this much like when the Citgo sign was rehabilitated. They've been remade to last another 50 years. They have energy efficient LED lighting on them so that they will be green for the future. And I think they will really mark Cleveland Circle going forward as a place. When you go into the building, when it's built, you'll see a lot of other reminders of the old theater that we were able to save and preserve.